welcome back. Okay, many people's number one fear, public speaking. Public speaking. The number two fear, dying. That's right. More people are afraid of public speaking than they are of dying. It's crazy, I know, but it's true. And that's why we have Kahrs joining us this morning. He's otherwise known as the TheSpeakDr. You're the CEO, founder of The Trainer for You. You've also written a book titled Enhancing Your Presentation Skills. And you're going to help us overcome our fears of public speaking.
Absolutely. Isn't that amazing? People are twice as afraid of speaking in public than they are of dying, which would suggest they'd rather be in the coffin or the box than give the eulogy.
That's insane. Exactly. That's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
That's funny that you say it like that.
This gentleman here, he actually came out and he looked at people. And you looked at people too. And you smiled a little bit. People love happy presenters. If you're having a good time, that's great because the audience can relax and say, whew, that person isn't falling apart up there. They're having a good time. I can sit back and enjoy the show. The audience wants you to be successful, believe it or not. Now, pick and choose when you're smiling. It doesn't have to be a cheesy smile, but generally smiling is good. The only time it's not, we're downsizing the company. Careful there, okay?
He is known as the TheSpeakDr. If you are nervous about speaking in public, stick around because the doctor is helping people develop those public speaking skills. He is joining us live this morning with some tips on how to land that perfect job. Hey, by the way, he is known as the TheSpeakDr. So if you are nervous about speaking in public, stick around for this.
The TheSpeakDr helps people develop public speaking skills, and he joins us this morning with some tips on how to land the job. We'll have those details coming up after the break at 6:14.
He is known as the TheSpeakDr. He's a communication consultant. He is an expert, is what we like to call him. Kahrs is helping people develop public speaking skills. Joining us this morning with some tips on how to land that perfect job. Good morning.
Great to see you, Ann. Great
Hard to
be
believe
here.
I used to have problems speaking in public, huh?
That is hard to believe. You did such a great job.
I did. I talked to somebody like you. So what is the most important thing when you're going on a job interview?
Yeah, the most important thing really is to smile because the employer is going to be a little bit nervous too. So just be happy. Typically there's a chemistry factor, just like dating. And if they feel more comfortable, you feel more comfortable, and people hire people they like. Also make direct eye contact because if you don't look someone in the eye, it looks like you're lying.
You've heard that before, and that goes back to dating as well.
That's right, yeah.
Always look the person in the eye.
You got it.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay, what color is this?
White.
What do cows drink?
Milk.
They don't drink milk. It worked. It worked. Now, why do you suppose I tell you that? What's the learning point there? Anybody? I'm sorry?
There was a link.
There's a link? What did you say?
We're sheep.
We're sheep. Yes.
You can trick the brain.
You can trick the brain. Yes. We're getting closer. But what threw you off?
The color of that.
That's right. So visual is important whether we like it or not. A lot of times I deal with engineers. They're bidding on a government waste nuclear cleanup project worth $1 billion. And engineers are great people and they're smart. But when they're presenting to the government, what do they focus on in their minds? The technical engineering, right? That's exactly right. And who does the government end up picking? The people they like, the people they felt the connection with. You see what I'm saying? You can have both going for you, where you know the content, but you also look good, right? So the next part of this is body language stuff. So if you do weird stuff, people will notice. And let me give you some examples. Have you ever seen this before?
Yeah.
It's what I call the talking fig leaf. Right? That's kind of a distraction, right? People are like, what's he doing? They're not listening to a word that I'm saying, right?
Well, the doctor is in.
The TheSpeakDr, that is.
You're watching KOLO News Channel 8, the team you know and trust.
Well, the doctor is in.
The TheSpeakDr, that is. He's a public speaking expert, and he's been on national television several times. And he says he's got the know-how on what we're doing wrong with our body language and communication skills.
Yeah, for more on the top mistakes people make, here's KOLO 8 News Now's Angela Chen. Good morning, Angela.
Dave, Amanda, good morning. Well, as you've probably heard your grandmother or your mom say, there's a reason you have 2 ears and only 1 mouth, because part of making a good impression is listening well. That's according to Kahrs, a public speaking expert and communication consultant. So he dropped by to share some of his wisdom. He's a published author, and he's offering us a few tips on what to do and what not to do when it comes to your body language and speaking skills. He says it's incredibly important to know how people perceive you, and it can make all the difference in getting what you want in your personal life as well as your job, especially when you're asking for a raise.
They did a survey, they do it every year, and they talk about the #1 fear people have. I was on the John Tesh radio program. He has a syndicated show, and he asked me about this. Take a look at what the #1 fear is. Public speaking or speaking before a group. It's been #1 for a long time. What's amazing, look at where death is. Okay? Statistically, crazy. People are twice as afraid of speaking in public than they are of dying, which means they'd rather be in the box and give the eulogy when you think about it. Kind of crazy. So here's the point. If this is intimidating in all seriousness, because we want to talk about what you do every day, it's not unusual to be a little apprehensive. I've worked with celebrities, sports people, CEOs, and they're terrified. People that you know, people that you've heard of, and you wouldn't believe how anxious those folks are. So no matter how much money you have, even if you're on a cover of a magazine, doesn't matter. Once you come up here, everything changes. One last comment about that. Have you ever practiced, we were talking about this, over and over again, and then you go live and everything changes and you kind of choke a little bit? Ever happen? All of a sudden you go blank, you get brain freeze, right? Everybody's going, yeah, right. You're not going to say, hey, give me a raise. Let's discuss my compensation package. Those are the words that I want you to use, because if you say get a raise, you're kind of drawing a line in the sand, and you don't want to do that. So let's discuss my compensation package. Also, Jerry, important for your listeners to know, make a list of all the great things that you've done. Make sure it's quantifiable, very exact, very specific, and relate it to all the goals, objectives, and the mission statement of your company. Now, if you do that ahead of time and maybe print out a sheet of paper and say, you know what, boss, look at some of the things that I've done. Take a look at this. What do you think about my compensation package right now? And then pause. Don't say anything, because most of us talk too much. We don't listen.
Oh, that's so true.
Kahrs has a new best-selling book titled Enhancing Your Presentation Skills. For more information, you can go to our website, ktla.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Great to be with you
Yeah.
folks. Thank you.